Hello and welcome back to the Fireside Writing Advice stream. I am your host, Raymond McNeil, and joining me, as always, is the immortal Mollie Rhymemaster. Mollie, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty well. I got back from a camping trip a couple days ago. That was fun. I won lots of tickets at an arcade, and also I've been obsessed with doing logic puzzles. So it's basically just a normal weekend for me. Normal weekend.
Oh, excellent. All right.
How about you? I never ask you how you're doing.
Everyone, no one asks how is the Phoenix. Everyone asks where, but not how. I'm doing pretty good, all things considered. I mean, they're the personal things going on we just talked about, but other than that, relatively good. Making some good progress on Volume 5. We're nearing the end of the script writing process. We have a few more episodes to write. Oh wow, that rain just vanished. That is weird. Like it rained like super hard for like 20 seconds and then stopped. But yeah, no, we're nearing the end of the writing process for Volume 5. That's very exciting. This is the most substantial rewrite that I have ever done. It's almost twice the length. Actually, I think it is already twice the length of Volume 4's rewrite. So, yeah, it's gonna be a chunky series. But yes, everything is going hunky-dory on my end. I don't know if we have much to comment on. Any interesting anecdotes to bring up before we dive right into things?
Anecdotes. Let's see.
There's that Pokemon fanfiction you threw me that was like
Oh yeah, I was doing my usual like, oh, I'm looking for weird Pokemon fanfiction, and there was one person who's like violently Scottish person who's like, I've rewritten Sword and Shield so that the region is based off Scotland and not off England, and then at the bottom of each chapter there's just all this text about like how angry this person is at British politics. And it's like, I appreciate all the effort, but I don't think this person realizes that they're writing like a Pokemon Sword and Shield fanfiction.
Well, they were angry at like all the portrayals of Gloria, of all the Pokemon trainers like being Scottish and like, no, I want to do it right or something like that, right? Wasn't that?
Yeah, well, that I don't blame OP because that meme got tired really fast.
I don't know. I still enjoy it. But yeah, no, I can see how it could wear on someone. I'm not gonna say that it's completely bearable. Hello, the humble African. Zaid Ben Sufal, good to see you. Or is that Zaid?
It might be Zaid, yeah.
Yeah.
Because Bin is Arabic, so I think it's Zaid.
Yeah, Zaid. I mean, presuming you're actually from the region you've named yourself after, I wasn't aware that I had any Middle Eastern fans, but that's interesting. And of course, Moopa, good to have you on board. Sounds like a proper Scottish person. Yeah, if you're not angry all the time, you're not Scottish. That's why I'm only angry like half the time. But yes. So, today's prompt, which we're going to be covering, was bullying, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Wasn't that our prompt?
It was bullying in the future. We had no reason to go through with it. I don't think that this adds to like writing skills, but it's something. Like adds to a specific writing skill, but it's something.
Well, I mean, like the idea is like we're kind of running out of just like pure distilled like specific writing skills to go over. So the idea of getting like a broad approach to different things is always very beneficial. I mean, I for one like there's some dynamics that you can enjoy with like bullying. My particular favorite is when the bullies get upstaged. It's like kind of not good natured teasing. It's like kind of more mean spirited teasing, and then like the bullies get like shown up and they're like kind of given a taste of their own medicine, or something like the person plays into the bullying in such a way that's like, oh no,
Girlfriend in chat.
Frogs, everyone, frogs now.
Frogs and geckos. I was talking with Sarah and I asked her at like 1 p.m. I'm like, I'm like, Sarah, if you were a lizard, what type would you be, and what would your lizard name be? And she's like, well, a leopard gecko, obviously. And she didn't come up with a name until like 6 p.m. It was great.
It's more a story arc exercise than anything else. Yeah, it's probably more accurate. And of course, since in the future, hopefully our good buddy Anime AK will have given us an interesting little story along with it.
Oh yes.
I'll take the first read for the night.
Cool.
And here we go. Tower Hanger. This is called Drunken Confession. Tower Hanger, the last city. 799 after the collapse. Aldrin walked down the stairs to the hangar while a bouquet of... Wait, was this last week's? Did I get his wrong?
Yeah, this is from May 31st, so it might be. But I don't know, it doesn't feel familiar to me. I also have a terrible memory, so...
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna keep reading it. Let me double check Anime AK's messages briefly here. Yeah, no. I posted the wrong one. That was my bad. This is apparently not of this world, which might actually be the like inanimate object prompt. Anime, I'm sorry. I've gotten like a lot of mixtures.
Should we just go through with it anyway, or should we save his for the end?
A minute. I'm trying to see if like... Okay, this one looks new. I think?
Anime AK says this is new. Like, the anime guy's in chat, and that's what he says.
Oh, okay. The Drunken Confession one is new. Anime, what is the title of the one you wanted to do for this particular prompt? Just let me know so I can distinguish them. I feel bad. There's two. Anime, you gotta send me one.
Let's do Drunken Confession.
Okay.
Because that's the one you sent me.
Okay.
So let's go with that.
All right. Tower Hangar, the last city, 799 after the collapse. Aldrin walked down the stairs to the hangar while a bouquet of roses and a box of chocolates occupied his hands. The lights flickered in a glitching manner due to the power being on the fritz. The time traveling...
if this is like one of those... Like, okay, remember in the song I Burn where the line is, you're standing too close to a flame that's burning? Like, it's we know that the flame is burning because it's a fire, and that's what fires do. If the lights are flickering, if they're glitching out, we know that the power's on the fritz. Like, it's a minor thing, but it helps the writing like be a lot kind of more condensed, a lot smoother.
Yeah, but if you want to like emphasize that it is on the fritz, you could use this point as characterization. So you could have the character even saying like, lights flickering, the lights flickered in a glitching manner. Damn power was still on the fritz. Why wasn't someone fixing that? Like, you know, you could have someone like commenting on it. It's okay, anime guy. Just be sure when you send me things, you gotta just send me one so I don't get confused. The time traveling machines called the Vex. The time traveling machines called the Vex seem to be trying psychological warfare now. Yeah, that didn't stop.
Wait, hold on. The time traveling machines. The comma should be a word earlier. Machines, comma, called the Vex, comma.
Seem to be trying psychological warfare now. Yet that didn't stop him from his objective to reach Amada Holiday's quarters that was just above the Sparrow's repair depot. Quarters? All right, first, quarters is not... that's not possessive. Yet that didn't stop him from his objective to reach Amada Holiday's quarters.
That were?
Yeah, were. Yeah. Or even better, comma, just above the Sparrow repair depot. It shortens it, makes it nice, clippy. He then looked up to the window by the door, only to see Vrixis come out of it. There was a hunch to his four shoulders. He could tell the Elixinzi was angry. Elixini was angry with how the blue ether mist was huffed in and out of his insectoid nostrils.
Insectoid, yeah.
I don't think insectoid has an E.
I don't think so either.
A bandage over his brow looked fresh with his, while his armor was drenched in alcohol and his own blue blood. Vrixis, Tora mul yokam tom, he asked, worried that he was hurt. Alright, look, I'm gonna get real with you, Anime AK. If you learned the language of the creatures in Destiny, because I assume this is Destiny, I'm both going to be impressed and I'm going to call you a massive freaking nerd. It's like learning Klingon, buddy. Vrix's only reply was his furrowed brow and 4 blue eyes narrowed at Uldren, brushing past him, causing their shoulders to collide. See, there's a lot of unnecessary details here where you could have just, not details, but unnecessary language. It's like, Vrixis only replied with a furrowed brow and 4 narrowed eyes, brushing past him, brushing past with his shoulders brushing past, something like that. Like you can clean that up.
I love fake language dialogue. Although, and I also, he did learn the language. You know what? That is impressive, Anime AK. I like fake language dialogue, and I also like it, like I said, I was going through my Pokemon fanfics like usual, and I love it when like Pokemon fanfics decide that like, oh, okay, the first 4 regions speak Japanese, Unova, Galar, and Alola speak English, and then Kalos speaks French, because every time I have to like think about like Pokemon terms in a French accent, it just kills me. Les Pokémon.
Le Pokemon.
Le
Pikachu.
Le Pikachu.
Le Pikachu.
I just want to say, like, I'm saying that because like playing with language and writing is fun.
Parlez-vous Calais?
Kaloshi. I saw a fanfic once where they you know how like the French word for French has like COIS at the end? They like did like Kalos OIS. I don't know how to pronounce that, but
nice that you learned a whole language. Some people can't even learn English.
Sure, I still haven't learned English.
Oh. I mean, it isn't until you start learning another language that you realize how woefully inadequate you are at your own. Because like learning Japanese right now is an ordeal. Actually, I forgot to Vivi gave me an exercise to do where I basically write down everything I do in my day in Japanese. So it's like basic stuff. I haven't done that today because I've been busy. I need to do that. Vrix's only reply was his furrowed brow, blah, blah, blah. It confused him, though he decided to ask Amanda. Is it Amada or Amanda? I think you spelled it wrong in one of the circumstances. What that was
first it's Amada, then it's Amanda. It's probably an autocorrect.
Yeah.
But then he uses Amanda again. So.
It just to be proofing error, it's fine. Right now was just a simple date, just relaxing as they would watch a Star Wars marathon. Okay.
Hold on, I want to address what Moopa said. I'm kind of on the fence towards fake language stuff. On one hand, it can add some interesting world building spice, but on the other hand, it's so often clutter, make a story hard to parse. I think the difference is like when it matters that there's different languages going on. So again, if we take the Pokemon example, if there's like a character in a different region that is not their language, that becomes an important part of the story, is that it's not their first language that they're dealing with. But I feel like if everybody speaks the same language all the time, throwing in like other terms, like fake language terms, can get kind of weird.
Yeah, actually, I just started reading a Little Witch fanfic that's all about, ironically, the 2 leads being bad fanfiction writers, but they're bad in different ways. And I actually find that a really endearing, like, premise where the main character, the bumbly klutz character, she's like the typical bad fanfiction writer where she just like states that, a lot of object verb subject what was it?
Subject verb object.
Subject verb object. Like a lot of that, and a lot of like just like self-insert stuff and that kind of stuff. Meanwhile, the other one has like this beautiful language to her writing, but she completely mischaracterizes everything in the story and the characters, and like that's her fatal flaw, is that she's basically self-inserting by just replacing the character with herself and like expressing her sadness and moroseness and angst and all that. Where was I going with this? Oh, right. The big premise is that one of them is actually Japanese, and she learned English, and so that actually has come up a couple of times where like she didn't understand certain cultures, didn't or customs in England, or didn't when she was writing her story, she had like really good Japanese in it, that kind of stuff going on. Just writing like normal, indicating, hey, they're talking a different language here. Yeah, I've always wanted to do that. Like I'm planning on writing a novel at some point that has characters speaking in English and Japanese, and I'm probably going to do romanji for that. I need to run it. Hey, Floof. What's up, Floof? What's up, Password the Third? Sigma is a Greek letter. Yes, it is.
It's true.
I
like it. I like in Fire Emblem Three Houses fanfics where they have to figure out what language to make Petra speak, and I don't think I've read two where it's the same.
Yeah, yes, that's what Kalosian voyeurs say. Le Pikachu.
Le Pikachu. like Sarah was reading one of the descriptions of the fanfics, and she's reading the names. It's like Ash, Serena, and Clement. Excuse me, Clement. All right, let's move on.
Where was I? Right now, except the sequel trilogy. Supposedly, that was just a bad set of movies. However, as he was about to knock on her door, a young girl clad in black and royal purple-colored hunter armor came out. Her cloak was a lioness fur pelt, with the upper jaw and skull pulled back like a hood behind her neck. "Uncle Aldrin, you're back," she stated.
You are back. You are back.
Yep, you are back. I would argue you don't even need "she stated," but if you're going to do it, lowercase she. I understand that's actually a really weird thing to get used to when you have like proper punctuation with the quotation, but then immediately followed up with a lowercase letter. That's really weird to get used to, but quotations mess with writing all the time. They were actually one of the hardest things I had to learn in my early years as a writer. I still mess up that kind of stuff. Yep, me and Amanda planned a movie night together. Is she okay? I feel like that's a complete sentence right there. I don't know if like you flow right into that. Just, is she okay? Vrixis looked a little pissed about something. Is she okay? Vrixis looked a little pissed about something, he asked. Lowercase he. Actually, if it's a period at the end of the sentence and you're going into a descriptor, it's a comma. It's, again, quotations get weird. We might have to do an entire episode on just how quotations work.
We could.
This caused the young teen's eyes to look at the metal floor. She gripped her left forearm as though it was in a ghost pain. Oh my god, that would actually be a really fun idea. Have everyone open their own Google Docs, share the links in the have them share the links in chat, and then everyone can have like a group thing going on.
Maybe. Also, another good point for Moopa is she stated is a weird tag considering that the sentence is a question.
That's fair. And thanks for picking up on
Moopa
that.
makes better commentary than I do.
That's why she's a moderator.
It's true.
I arrive only a little bit late. Yeah, you're only a little bit late. You're fine. You're still relatively late and hetero. This caused the teen's eyes to look back at the metal floor. She gripped her left forearm as though it was in a ghost pain. I would just cut it down to as though... not even as though, just like she was in pain. Like, she was in pain. And I would probably actually refine that even more. Amanda is not in the best state of mind right now. Period. hell, comma, she just cleared out a bottle of the Mistral's finest whiskey and is halfway through another. I assume Mistral's is it's a term from Destiny, not the country which I
Not
have
the
had
Ruby,
to,
Ruby
not the
character.
Ruby country
The
which
Ruby,
I've had to
country.
completely rebuild from scratch with the sketchy huntsman. Fake or
Oh wait, hold on. I have to ask. Did you decide it's Asian, or did you decide it was Greek?
Both ish. It's hard to explain without giving a little bit of spoilers, but we found a way to meld the two. But the most forward elements of it are strictly Asian.
Gotcha.
Non-English language can actually be a good way to disguise plot points by making it hidden to readers who don't know the language. That way people who don't know that language can find the details. Yeah, that might be fun. But then you also have to make sure you write your story in such a way that it can be enjoyed both directions.
Getting Tiny Weiss on screen here.
Tiny Weiss.
Tiny Weiss.
Tiny Weiss. I'm a Mario. I don't know why I'm doing this. Because my voice cracked this way. Hell, she just cleared out a bottle of Mistral's finest whiskey. When your quotations inside of quotations, it's always single quotes, not double quotes. So apostrophes, basically. Not quite from scratch. We just wanted to change a couple of things here and there, and over there, and here again. Yep. Get ready for a radically different Mistral. I'm telling you, it's going to be fun. Aldrin winced at that. Oh, that can't be good. Don't worry about it, Daisy. I'll make sure she doesn't kill her liver. Should there be a comma before him saying Daisy, or just no?
No. What I would do is I'd actually put like a quotation here, and then like dialogue tag, and then start over, like start the next. Like there needs to be kind of a pause in there. Oh, it's a Ruby Destiny crossover. That's why.
Ah. This is spelled wrong.
Mistrials.
Mistrals. There we go. Not the Mistrals of Mistral's finest whiskey. The teen smiles warmly and walks up to let her uncle work his magic on the tower's shipwright. I imagine that's a proper term. And so that she can clear up any misunderstandings with the Kell of House Light, Mitrakis. Okay. He carefully opened the door to see that Daisy was correct on Amanda's alcohol consumption. The room reeked of it. I think you might want a semicolon. The room reeked of it. The blonde engineer herself was downing another shot glass as tears ran down her flushed red cheeks. Amanda, you alright, love? Does that need a comma? Like, alright, love?
Yeah.
He pressed. I mean, it's more like he asked. I don't know if pressed is really the right tag for that, but...
Pressed has more, like, aggression to it.
Yeah.
You're pressing someone for information.
Think literally any of our Ace Attorney streams. When you press someone...
Press.
You're trying to get more information out of them, as opposed to, like, actually showing concern. There's a difference between asking you all right when it comes down to, I am concerned for this person's well-being, and I want to know what their status is. And... are you all right? Which is, I need this information vitally now. Setting the flowers and chocolate on the coffee table, he walked over to her mini bar to gently remove the whiskey bottle from her presence. Was she at the whiskey? Was she at the mini bar? No. Why was he going over to the mini bar? Is she holding it? Is she like leaning against the mini bar? I don't know what the choreography of the scene is. The blocking. Hey, Crow. Do the Elixni
The
Elixni know about sarcasm. Sarcasm is not a proper noun, so don't capitalize that. Don't worry, I capitalize a lot of random words all the time. She stated more than asked. Yes, why?
That's interesting. He's not using ellipses as punctuation. Like, he's putting a comma after them.
I don't know if that's right or wrong. I don't think it's right, but, I mean, that's just me.
There was a discussion about ellipses, like a brief discussion about ellipses in the writer's corner yesterday.
I saw that, and I
Yeah.
didn't know how to handle it because like
Because it was a screenshot from Three Houses, and there's two instances of ellipses in the screenshots. One of them has a space after it, and one of them doesn't have a space after it.
I just put a space after it anyway. No matter
I think
what.
it's grammatical. But
His victim's brother went missing because of a misunderstanding. I went on a tirade about the spiders and the foolishly. I
think that's like a proper noun. I think that's like, wait, no, it's not.
Yeah, I was gonna say like I thought it was too,
Yeah.
but no. And foolishly said that it was meant to be a compliment, and I don't think. Oh, the spider has to be proper noun. It's the spider. It's singular. What exactly did you call the spider? An. Or if you're like going for a slur, with an apostrophe. Though that's rarely used. Typically people just are more comfortable using an. And egotistical Jabba the Hutt ripoff fuckface who should die in a fire. I mean, as far as insults go, you got a good one right there. So you're not a lost cause when it comes to writing, man. You're just gotta learn to apply the craft a little bit better. But you got some talent here. Was all he could say. He instantly knew how that can be misunderstood, especially with how tensions are running high thanks to the endless night right now. Was Vrixis's brother found possessive? Yeah, he made his way through the sewer back to the House of Light camp. House of Light, if it's all plural like that, camp, and brought the incidents to Mithrakis. But you blame yourself for what happened. She gave a drunken nod while shoving the empty shot glass away. It's not your fault, it was a misunderstanding, if anything. Granted, the people shouldn't...
Granted, comma.
Oh, you're right. People shouldn't have reacted so violently. She gave him a look at defeat and anger. A quick sigh escaped her lips. Have you read up on the city's history yet? I already know where you're going with that, Amanda. Stop blaming yourself. Vrixen was nearly killed for my mistakes. Crow. And Vrixis was assaulted by Crowd?
There's a lot being thrown at me considering I've never played Destiny before.
I mean, I'm picking up what you're putting down a little bit here. Pog, I finally figured out how to connect my stupid headphones, and now I can listen to my favorite Ruber, Sir Raymond Celtic Phoenix of McNeil. That's good to hear, Nami Nom Noms. They have Jabba the Hutt and Destiny Reviewers. Well, apparently they have Star Wars, so...
So I'm looking more at the ellipses thing. I'm going through some support conversations and just looking. It's... I think what they're doing is if it's kind of like a trailed off thought or like it's about to be a new sentence, they'll put a space after the ellipses. But if it's kind of like a comma, like someone's repeating a word, or finishing a thought, they don't use a space. Which is just a weird grammar thing.
Usually you just use a comma for that kind of thing. Or like a dash. Daisy is already taking care of it. Now come on, let's get you to the toilet before you start puking your guts out all over the bar. Amanda relents a heavy sigh as she accepts Crow's hand to carry her to the bathroom. What did I do to deserve you? She said in a dizzying haze. The hangover decided to take over. The hangover deciding to take over? More like the hangover taking control. Or taking over. I don't like using over twice, but I mean... Hey, Raymond, did you know that they're going to turn Velma Dinkley into an East Asian Velma? I don't care. Like, I mean, at this rate, Velma has been like everything under the sun, but like, I don't know. The fact that they're making a solo Velma story seems really stupid to me because like the entire point of Scooby-Doo is that it's like the whole crew. I never quite thought that the Scooby and Shaggy solo films ever really worked. And let's not lie here, guys. The reason why Velma is so popular is because she's basically like, she's the nerd waifu. And it's not because she's like an interesting, super deep character. All right? It's because she has more tags on porn websites than Daphne. That's why they're making that film.
Why do you know that offhand?
Look, I don't ask you stupid questions. No, I'm kidding. But I because I know the internet and I can guess from that. But no, I know about that. And I'm just trying to express, they think that she's popular because she's a popular character, not because half the internet has turned her into a sex symbol. That's basically it. This is how stupid marketing execs are. They don't understand that popularity does not equal raw sales. People aren't going to go to the Velma film. People are going to see what the Velma looks like in the Velma film and then draw porn of her. And that's the limit of their engagement with that film. That is how that's going to work out. Yannis Makumidora, let's see, when hangovers start that fast, it's usually the next day. Yeah, hangovers don't usually start that fast. I don't know much about hangovers. I've never had one. I thought this was writing advice.
Yeah, don't they usually start the next morning? Isn't that like kind of the
It's either the next morning or several hours later when you're starting to sober up. Like, it's the sobering process, effectively. Not calling me a monster when my identity was revealed, he smiled back. Comma, lowercase h. Just shut up and get me to the damn toilet. She smiled, though her cheeks started to turn green soon enough. Oh shit. Hurry, get me inside! Crow, or rather Aldrin, was glad that the bathtub was closer than the toilet. Ending on a vomit joke. Not a bad one, but like, not my cup of tea. Velma becomes the next Samsung girl. Dude, the Samsung girl is the next Velma. That's how that works.
Isn't it Crow, comma, or rather Udlerin?
Aldrin. I thought it was Aldrin, not Yeah, it's Aldrin. He misspelled. Like Buzz.
You always gotta warm up your pronunciation skills when an anime AK is writing.
Yeah, take some time setting because it's a state of dehydration. Oh, that's what
I thought this was writing advice, not obvious dumb questions hour. What was that in response to?
I don't know. Okay. Well, ooh. Oh, you get a fun one to read. You get Moopas.
Yeah, Moopa.
Look at this formatting.
I got like my Fire Emblem supports open in the next tab.
I mean, it's like this formatting is. I love this. I am all for the weird diegetic writing stuff.
I love the weird experimental stuff Moopa does. Let's see. Getting it open. I have to close my tab of Petra supports. Officer, those are my emotional supports. All right, here we go. Letters from General Digby's Military Academy for Kinests to Lord Sorab, Field Marshal Thaumaturge of the Imperial Army. Thaumaturge.
It's a type of magic, if I'm not mistaken. Thaumaturge.
Lord Sorab, Victoria Sedera. This is your regularly requested report on your ward, Raziel. Despite her background, she has integrated well into the classroom and is a diligent student. However, A few of her classmates have begun to pick on her prosthetic legs. Please advise whether corrective action should be taken. Respectfully, Absar Kearns, Faculty Youth Counselor. Lord Sorab, Victoria Sidera. Per your request, no interference will be made in the developing situation. Today in the cafeteria, some older students poured soup on Raziel. She cried out. The soup was fresh and steam rose from her body. The older students laughed, waiting to see sparks as their legs short-circuited. Raziel made no reply. She ran from the cafeteria to the clinic. Her birds are superficial and expected to hear quickly. Respectfully, Absar Kearns, Faculty Youth Counselor. Lord Sorab, Victoria Sidera. After repeated incidents of pushing and tripping, the children have tired of her prosthetic legs. One of the children discovered Raziel's history, and the information has spread among the entire student body. In the past couple days, they have made many requests for her to perform tasks and work for them. They no longer call her by her name, but instead as slave or Lord Sorab's pet. She often ignores them. When she does, the students loudly remind her of their own pedigree, and that it's a disgrace for someone so low-born to be in the same school as them. So far, the incidents have not progressed beyond this and the usual shoving. Respectfully, Absar Kearns, Faculty Youth Counselor. Lord Sorab, Victoria Sidera. The students are becoming more aggressive. They have ripped her textbooks, thrown glasses of water, flushed school supplies. One student stole her legs in the night while they were detached, and strung them up in pieces from the courtyard fountain. She was pushed down the stairs and slightly trampled. Some of the requests from the older students are obscene, and they pull at articles of her clothing, to which she runs away. The students have begun to complain to their parents and the faculty. The teachers now chastise her for speaking out of turn. Her math professor moved her seat to the back, isolated. The dean has received correspondence from parents and guardians asking that she be removed from the academy or transferred to a janitorial position. The students who have come to me for counseling have also complained of her. They tell me she is unfriendly, doesn't bathe, and her visage offends them. A student named Isran, whom I have identified as her chief tormentor, claims that Raziel gives him a bad feeling and doesn't belong in polite society. He revealed he and his friends have the intentions of teaching her where she would be most useful in the Empire. Raziel herself does not approach me nor any of the other counselors. She keeps to herself and speaks little. I fear for your ward's safety if this continues without intervention. Respectfully, Absar Kearns, Faculty Youth Counselor. Lord Sorab, Victoria Sidera. The bullying situation has been resolved, if one could call it that. It happened late at night. Multiple alerts were set by the security bots of students out after curfew. I was working late, recording the day's sessions, and one robot confirmed spotting Raziel. Recalling Iswan's intentions, I was among the faculty who responded, though most of the teachers were furious and ready to discipline whoever they found. What we saw was worse than anything I'd imagined. In a terrible display of her kindest abilities, Raziel has retaliated against other students. 2 of them have been disfigured with multiple broken bones, groaning in their blood on the floor. The third can only be identified later, after reconstruction, as Isran's corpse. Raziel says the students had sneaked into her dorm, but she'd been watchful ever since the fountain incident. She ran down the halls as they chased her, until she had a revelation. She claims there's no way you couldn't have known all that was happening to her, and concluded this was all a test. She turned to face them and let loose with all her kind powers. She acknowledges that she broke the Academy's rules by using her passwords outside the classroom training, but apologizes for nothing else. They were weak. She cites your name in the face of distraught parents, and not even threats of criminal charges faze her. She expects if she's removed from the school, you'll have to take her seriously as your apprentice, not just your ward. Is this true? Could it really have all been a test? Is that the result you desired? Respectfully, Absar Kearns, Faculty Youth Counselor.
Interesting.
Huh.
I like that. I like that little. I do like the turnabout. Now, the issue that I have mostly is that it's a little colorful for sort of a more modern setting. Now, like, this is a distinction you need to make with early writers when it comes down to like writing letters and like correspondence. Typically, they don't. The one that got me was like, she cried out. The soup was fresh and steam rose from her body. That doesn't sound like a norm. What someone would actually say, like a counselor would say. Like, they wouldn't like describe the steam coming off their body, that kind of thing.
Yeah, they'd say like the soup was very hot and it burned her.
Yeah, like they'd be
more plain language.
More plain language, a little more matter of fact. Now, the farther you go back in time, the more colorful the language gets because people literally had nothing better to do with their time. And like that's I've done a lot of epistolary writing in certain settings, and this, I mean, maybe in your setting, time has sort of like not rewound, but like correspondence has kind of gone back to the more colorful language. All the same, I never really quite got a feel for the character of Absar Kieran's. I mean, they did seem properly passive for someone who's like just a counselor, not supposed to get involved. They're just trying to stay out of things. So that was conveyed well, but I didn't really get a much feel otherwise from like the description that you gave. And that's always the important part, is the description that you give when you're trying to colorize an epistle rewriting is supposed to reflect upon the writer, not upon the situation accurately, necessarily. So what I got from like this was that like this person was a little vindictive, and in fact she was there at the scene in order to see the steam rising off, and this writer is not reacting to that. They're not like horrified by that, just like, oh yeah, she cried out, soup was fresh, and the steam rose from her body. You know, it happens. It's like that's the kind of feeling I got from Absar Kieran's during all this. Tricky balance between trying to write convincing letters and interesting prose. I keep that in mind as I continue to practice. Yeah, it's all about the writer of it, because it's all colored through their lens. This is the most distilled version of colored prose when it comes down to the whatchamacallit, the protagonist perspective, or the viewer's perspective.
Sorry, I've been kind of just like mulling over my thoughts. It's kind of like when you're writing a narrative song, you have to be very careful about the language you're using being consistent so that it sounds like it is the character who is speaking specifically. And this is kind of similar. You have to keep up a character throughout this whole thing, like, because it is somebody else's words.
Yeah,
it's
basically like writing just a single character saying things. It's basically just writing pure character dialogue, so to speak, but it's all written down. So yeah. Good attempt. Yeah. It kind of faltered here and there, but otherwise very solid.
But by the way, if you want to hear like bad narrative songs, I mean, I hate to keep bringing up Ruby, but it is Ruby. I think Yang's songs get them the worst because it'll be like boastful and playful, and then she'll have these weird poetic lines in there. It's just things like that you just have to watch out for, because it takes you out of the immersion of what you're listening to or reading. Things like that. By the way, I think the Volume 8 soundtrack drops next month, and I'm definitely doing, like, it's going to be like a 4-hour stream.
All right. Well, moving on, we have our good old buddy Frontier, William Wismer.
William Wismer, like the Pokemon, remember?
Wismer, yes.
Wismer.
I'm just going to...
He evolves into William Loudred and then William Explain.
If there was one thing Parker had never expected to see in the zombie apocalypse, it was a ghost. Not of the pale specter returned to haunt the living variety. That would have been ridiculous. No, this ghost was of a firmly human variety, one that Parker had not thought about in a very long time. He had come to the depot early. The crew was going out further than usual today, chasing rumors of a seed stockpile outside their normal range. Parker had intended to grab his gear and set off as quickly as possible, wanting to save as much daylight as possible. Possible.
Yeah, I was gonna say the repetition is a little off.
Wismer. I'm sorry, William. I might just intentionally start mispronouncing it just for fun, like in like different ways every single time.
Reminds me of like there's this dude Sarah knows who's like a sociopath, but she plays D&D with him because of like friend group shenanigans. You know when you get stuck in a friend group, it's one of those. And the dude keeps spelling her name as Sarha, like Sarha, and will never correct it. And it's the weirdest thing because it's one of the most common names ever. And he just can't spell it for some reason.
I haven't thought about Ruby since the last volume's end, and it has been pretty lovely. Yes. It is weird how, like, I was thinking about Ruby after Volume 7's conclusion, but after Volume 8's conclusion, I got, like, a week, and I was like, oh yeah, Ruby ended. Weird. Like,
excited for Volume 9, guys. Did you see, like, the things I was posting in the server about the Rooster Teeth shop? $25 for like plastic flip-flops, $80 for a cloak. There's Oscar merch.
Yeah, like, Jesus Christ, there's Oscar.
People have unironically bought Oscar merch.
Oh man, I mean, it's weird how many people there are. A couple people in the sketchy Huntsman who they love Oscar, and it's like,
what's there to love? Like, I'm genuinely curious. What is there to love about Oscar?
Like the wide-eyed farm boy. I think like that kind of archetype. It sounds almost like he's dyslexic.
What, Sourha guy? He isn't. He's just terrible.
Oscar.
You want to here? I'll tell you a story. Once they were playing D&D, and he made a gender fluid character that had been going by like female pronouns the entire time. And then all of a sudden, like, they say, oh, like, her, and then he's like, you've hurt the character's feelings. He was presenting as masculine today, you bigots. You've made him dissociate.
Is it possible that's a parody?
No.
Oh, Christ. Also, Serha! Glory to mankind! I don't take it you get that reference.
I don't.
Near Automata, there's a group called Yorha. They're androids meant to protect humanity. Oscar is like Luke Skywalker without a hero's journey. Yes, which means
yes
doesn't exist. Because Luke is like the distilled hero's journey. It's like that's the reason why Star Wars is so iconic. It is the distilled hero's journey. That first movie. You know he's the main character now. He got to meet, talk to, and take out the main bad guy in the show for a bit. Why wouldn't they like him? And the character yeeted before a deathly battle.
Yeah, in the D&D campaign, so the character's like, I have to go dissociate right before, like, a boss fight.
And he didn't die.
Yeah, just, like, ran off to cry,
Are you sure this isn't a parody? This sounds like a parody.
It's not. He's completely serious.
This guy needs help. Just like that, there was that grifter we saw. Remember that grifter?
All right, let's get back to
all right, yeah,
to
that's fair. Let's
Williams.
not talk about that. Dude, that plan only got as far as entering the building before he had frozen at the sight of the quartermaster. It wasn't the usual guy, but Parker still recognized him in an instant. It was hard to forget the face of your old victim. Isaac was his name. He and Parker had gone to the same high school once upon a time, though they had run in completely different circles. Parker had reigned from his lofty perch on the football team, while Isaac had spent his time nose-deep in books. Not even the same universe by standards of teenage mind, and Parker struggled to even remember what it was that had drawn his notice in the first place. What he could remember was the result. The chance he let his friends in, mocking, jeering, pushing Isaac around for their own amusement. For some reason, Parker had been fixated on the fact that he was always carrying around math textbooks, knocking them from his hands and demanding he pick them up only to immediately repeat the process. At the time, he found it funny. Christ, what the hell had been wrong with him? Name?
There should be a comma there. Yeah.
Yeah, Christ, comma. Name? Parker jumped at the question, coming back to the present to find Isaac looking at him from behind the desk. Sorry? Parker asked. Your name. I needed to get your gear. Rattled, Parker gave his name and number. Isaac quickly checked something in a ledger before turning towards the racks of equipment arrayed behind him. As he began selecting items for them, a cold vein of anxiety creeped in as Parker realized something. Isaac had full access to all of his gear. Harmless on its own, but if Parker could remember Isaac, couldn't Isaac remember Parker in turn? Hell, he'd just given his full name without thinking. How hard would it be to sabotage something important? How easy would it be to make it look like an accident? This worry had not abated as Isaac returned with Parker's ruck and rifle, sliding them both across the table along with an open ledger. Sign here, please. His flat tone only made Parker's anxieties worse. He hesitated, not long, but just enough to be noticeable. Isaac sighed, muttered something under his breath before leaning forward over the desk, ensuring he had Parker's undivided attention. All right, listen. Yes, I am who you think I am. Yes, I remember who you are, Parker. And yes, I remember what you made high school living hell for me. Parker swallowed nervously at this, a complete reversal of roles, years in the making. He had a sudden appreciation for just how much of a bastard his younger self had been. But I also remember that high school was 20 years and a literal apocalypse ago. If you know of anything better that better qualifies as ancient history, I'd be interested to hear it. Parker nodded, not strictly in agreement, but more out of desperate need to do something other than stand there. What I know is that this place relies on your scavenging runs to survive, and you rely on me to keep supplied for them. Isaac sat back, letting his glare soften, and extended a hand towards the pile of gear sitting on the desk. So how about I do my job, and you do yours, and we all leave the past in the past, agreed? Yeah, Parker said. Sounds good. Isaac nodded before tapping on the offered ledger again. Parker signed it and accepted his gear, slipping the ruck onto his back and giving his weapon a quick once-over. He was about to leave it at that before a bout of conscience made him turn back. For what it's worth, Parker said, I am sorry for back then. Isaac shrugged, dismissing the apology without the slightest care. He vaguely gestured out the window where the nearby gate was visible, holding back the shambling horrors that infested the ruins of the old world. Like I said, ancient history. Parker supposed that it was at that. Solid. Very solid.
Yeah, good. Feels natural. Feels like, there's a really solid scene set up.
I mean,
good stuff from the Wismer.
I could watch an entire movie about these two, like, in their little survivors compound. Trying to the story is told from the perspective of a former bully. Yeah, that's the interesting things you can get. Like, take spins on it. Like, always ask, what is the most unorthodox way to tell a story, and then find a way to tell it interestingly. Let's see. Yang really should have been the one that fell to fall. It cheapened her falling first. Wait, what? What are we talking about?
I think he's saying Yang should have been the only one to fall, because otherwise it cheapens her falling first.
Yeah, no, you can't rewatch that volume and watch Yang's fall with any sort of dramatic weight to it. And to be fair, I didn't, because we knew that someone was going to fall in, and we knew that was going to be someone important. And the fact that it was Yang was, oh, okay. So she's not dead, right? I don't like thinking about Volume 8. How is Ruby the main cast when they did nothing significant until the literal end of the season? Here's the thing.
Whitley did more to help the people of Mantle than all of Team Ruby.
I don't mind that Team Ruby was sort of sidelined in Volume 8. It matters to me because they've never done anything important, or at least they don't seem to ever do anything important. If they had done a lot of important things up to that point throughout the entire series, and they made decisions that affected the plot in any important way, like, if they had been, like, the masters of their own destiny, and then for a volume they literally found themselves unable to do anything while other characters need to do stuff, that's fine. Go right ahead. You can do that. That would work. But the fact that you haven't done that means that it stands out all the more that Ruby just never does anything. And to be fair, most of the elements introduced from Volume 1 to 3 is irrelevant to the overall plot. At this rate, yeah. This story is
you could watch Ruby. You could watch Ruby volumes 1 to 3, 6, and 9, and you wouldn't miss anything.
Yep, probably. Thank goodness Whitley's the best character. Whitley deserves to get it on with Salem. Excuse me, wait, what? Yanni's Makumadoro. I hate that all I had to tell someone on Twitter that Yang would be fine and concern is worthless because she is in the Y in Ruby.
I loved it when she fell and all like the bumblebees on Twitter, all the bumblebees, they were just like, oh my gosh, Yang is dead. I'm actually screaming. They were right. This season would be so intense. I'm having an anxiety attack. Oh my gosh. I'm talking to my therapist about this. This is what Ruby can be, Dark. See, there's consequences for their actions. See, hate.
They did do both
absolute
Atlas
meltdown
and Mantle, and most of the legwork for that was done in Volume 7, though. Let's be real. But yeah, no, Ruby is garbage. What else is new?
Everything about Blake becomes so frustrating. Now it's just everything about all of Ruby becomes so frustrating. Everything is frustrating. The music is frustrating. Penny's theme song is garbo. I said it. It's bad.
How would you do a Penny theme song? Like just curious, like what kind of instrumentation would you go with? Would you go like poppy? Would you go low energy? Would you
Let's see what I have. Let's see what I have here.
Would you walk across the room and be blocked out by Tiny Weiss?
Yeah, Tiny Weiss is on screen now.
What? No, you didn't realize you were actually walked right perfectly behind her, and she blocked you out just perfectly with her ponytail.
Let's see what would I do for a Penny theme instrumentally. I like the kind of like techno sounds that they have in the actual song, but like if you're gonna throw in a guitar, you might want to do something like but like I don't know. Like yeah, you'd think it should be dubstep, but they need their guitar. Like that's what I would have done with the guitar, and then I don't know. Like just like get the electric piano going.
Oddball throw, I would say hurdy-gurdy dubstep. Penny Theme's song Yoko Taro talking about how being a robot is superior to humanity. It's not a bad idea. I mean, like, the entire idea... God, I could go off on Penny just for days, like, talking about the same shit. Just like, oh, yeah, great, you guys show all the upsides of being a robot, but none of the downsides. You don't show anything of, like, what kind of things that Penny goes through. Oh, Anime Guy. Hey, Molly, if I play... thank you for the $5. Hey, Molly, if I paid you, would you make a song for an OC of mine? Be very interested in how you would do it, because unfortunately I have no talent.
I love writing music for people, and I like getting paid to write music. Please DM me.
I mean, hey, if he wants to spend the cash and ask us, that's perfectly fine. I'm not gonna complain.
I'm trying to think, like, what would I do with, like, a Penny song? Because, you know, obviously that little guitar riff, like, that's not much. I would probably have, like, just good electric piano effects, make it kind of atmospheric, because you want the humanity of it. You don't want it to be all techno. You want the humanity of it.
I'm trying to think, because like when you look at the main four, and those are the kind of the benchmarks I go by, because I still like the main four, like the, you know, Red Like Roses Part 1, Mirror Mirror, From Shadows, and I Burn. Despite their flaws.
I love how there's just a moment in From Shadows where you're like, something has gone terribly wrong, and the music literally has not recovered since.
But like I like those four in general. I do like the first two better. Although I like how From Shadows jumps all over the place. It's fun like that. But you kind of get like a sense of weight to all of them, where, you know, I just realized that they never brought back the Hispanic or Spanish or guitar, or whatever you call from like Roses.
Yeah.
Like, why did they never bring that back? Like, why did they get stuck on, like, butt rock? I'm just trying to, like... So for, like, Penny, you would want to kind of match that tone, I think, where it's, like maybe a little upbeat, sort of like Yang's in the beginning, where it's, like, a little bit like I Burn, where it's a little more positive, a little more poppy, a little more... But then, like, you can kind of transition more into a mix between Red Like Roses and Mirror Mirror type deal.
I'm trying to like visualize this, because the most important thing to me is having good lyrics with it too. Not the best place to solicit services, Anime Guy. If somebody is saying that they will pay me for making music, there's always a good place. Let's see, if I was making a Penny theme, you know, I would be, like... I need to change the instrument on this. Like, you'd have to get in, like, the synths, like... You want to get like a sense. So you put it in like F. That's like a nice wistful key. You're like.
You know what? No, we already have the perfect penny theme. It's called Inner Universe. And it was on the Ghost in the Shell standalone complex soundtrack. I'm calling out spirits. I'm calling.
I wish that her theme was kind of more about like the internal feelings she has regarding like humanity and not just the most like bare bones like, oh wow, I have feelings now. Thank you for being my friend. Which I understand that's kind of what happens, but if you're trying to make these characters a little bit deeper, especially somebody like Penny who actually does have a lot going on.
She already has feelings. We know that she has feelings. Yeah. It's like...
That's the thing, man. It's like, oh my gosh, I finally understand what feelings are now. Like, wasn't that the point of her arc, is that she had feelings?
Yeah, she was a human, but in a robot body. That was the big caveat. And, like, she experienced things normally differently than normal. Wasn't Maria fired into space? Yeah, her and Pietro are still circling the globe. Also, shout out, does anyone remember Pietro still exists? I didn't. And if the person is giving money to McNeil ask me, all the better. Yep, basically. I think Lamar has always been the best part of the lyrical soundtrack. He's always made this song. No.
He's a god-awful rapper. I could break it down in technicals why he is.
All right, well, speaking of breaking down in technicals, we have our last submission from Pasteben.
Yes, after that we will have more soundtrack talk. We will extend this to a soundtrack stream.
Yes.
Pietro is still circling the globe. Hurry up, James, or I'm going to have to tell everyone you're a pod person. The term pod person is considered See, that's exactly how I know you're a pod person. Real people don't care about things like that. Well, that and your poor performance. I'm sorry, but I've been wasting time. The test will be finished soon, and I'm afraid even if you locate the error, you won't be able to fix it before the clock runs out. I know your kind are genetically selected for talent, but even the most skilled technician can't work miracles in the time you got left. But are you done talking to me? Are you going to complain about the difficulty of the test? I assure that it was designed with painstaking calculation, just like you. No element is out of place. If you're having trouble, it's probably a flaw in the algorithms that programmed you. Artificially grown humans aren't programmed, ma'am, James replied with an even tone. He wasn't arguing with her, merely correcting her factual error. While most of his mind was dedicated to the issue at hand, a small portion was carefully couching his speech to avoid revealing his nature. To prove the viability of artificially raised humans, James needed to not only meet, but exceed when tested. Of course, it wouldn't be blending if he openly admitted it.
Yeah,
so
like
he had to be
blending
careful. No. I hope nobody's future depends on your performance, James. It would be a shame if the incompetence of one beaker baby ruined it for everyone. Did she know? Irrelevant. He was sure, of course, that it was not true. He was one of many being tested. It just stood to reason that you wouldn't pin an entire project on one man. And even if you did, you wouldn't end the entire project for one bad result. That would be illogical, so we just needed to precious little time remains, James. I'm afraid we might as well call it here. Even a team would be unable to finish the repairs necessary now. I should continue the test. Even if I don't fully pass, it is important to... James, I'm not hanging out stickers to... She paused and accented the next word with venom. People who try. I'm testing to find a competent technician. This is pass or fail, there's no middle ground, and I'm not wasting my time so you can feel better about failing less badly because you really tried your bestest. She was mocking him, almost certainly another level at the test. If he lost his cool, it would prove that he was unsuitable to a harsh workplace. He would remain, hey, I'm talking to you, you stupid piece of shit. Get your head out of your ass and answer me. What was the question, James, was whether you realized the inherent problem with pod people. I presumed as much, what with your poor performance. James cleared his throat, trying to regain the floor and complete his thought. It would be a mistake to write off synthetically raised humans without a full examination, including researching their behaviors and interactions on a large scale. Wow, how do you walk with a fence post so deep up your ass at all times? What? You didn't take a fucking position, pod boy. You took the opposite of a position. What do you believe? What is the inherent flaw with beaker babies? Well, we don't know if there is a flaw, so there's no flaw. I didn't say. What did you say? We don't know. Stop. You're not saying anything. Words may be leaving your mouth, but you aren't demonstrating thought. I was under the impression they had eliminated the mental defects, but maybe you are just a defective, James. I'm not a defective, so you are a pod person. Artificial or pod person. Artifit pod person. Say it, James. Say it, pod person. Was this part of the test? James tried to weigh the odds that admitting his synthetic nature might be the correct course of action. But she continued to interrupt his train of thought. She denigrated him further with baby talk, drawling out the sounds. Pod person. Pod person. Pod person. He realized that even if he admitted he was artificial, it would do little to assuage her. Assuage her. He would have to call himself a pod person to get along with the director, and show that he could work in this demanding environment. He wouldn't need to believe it, and he wouldn't be lying, just using her descriptor. It was just the same as switching from a slang dialect to professional. You could say the same things, just different words. Okay, director, that is true. I am someone you would refer to as a pod person. Beep, beep, beep. Ooh, looks like you came right down to the wire, James. James tilted his head, unsure of himself. Does that mean you failed? And by extension, you have failed your entire people. What? You are the apotheosis of your kind, the apex pod person. You are nothing, if not the greatest example of why synthetic child rearing will never succeed. I don't understand. What did I do wrong? I checked. Yes, you fucking miserable sheep. You checked the terminal 3 times. I watched you in painstaking, disappointing detail. Did it ever occur to you, even once, you worthless clump of cells, that I may have told you to check the wrong terminal? No, of course it didn't. Your entire life, your fake father never beat you, your fake mother never blamed you for mistakes, your fake siblings, your fake teachers never messed up your grades, your fake uncle didn't serve 6 years in prison, your fake friend's fake mother didn't hate you because you weren't good enough to associate with her fake daughter. Nobody took advantage of you, and you never faced anything that wasn't a carefully scripted test that you could pass if you tried. Your soulless neurons accumulated so much meaningless information while you learned nothing about the real world. Do you deny this? Your bias, still running from the truth. All you had to do in this test was to doubt the nature of the test. All you had to do was defy the parameters laid out in front of you, but you couldn't do it. If I needed another computer, I'd never buy one that needs to take lunch breaks and sick leaves. A machine like you is drain. Maybe is a drain. At least I can write off the machine on your desk as an expense. The director approached James from behind and forcibly swiveled his chair to face hers. As he sat transfixed in her piercing glare, he felt her place something heavy in his palm and close his fingers around it. Cold metal touched his throat. Careful, James. I learned a lot from my uncle after those 6 years. You may be an automation, but you do have a jugular vein. Now, in your hand is a gun, and and at your throat is a knife. How much is your life really worth, James? Reach deep into those memories and tell me if you have even one single lesson, thought, or test that affirms your right to live. Do the people who think it's important that you obey authority and maintain social pleasantries give you any insight on the value of a human life? Like he had his entire life, James did what he was told. As he has always been, he was swift and accurate. I know that I must not harm another human. What if they want to harm you, James? He somehow saw more of her eyes, even as her brows furrowed and her face narrowed with content. I'm not prepared. I can't. So what will you do without your master's guiding hand? James felt the subtle shift of the blade as she leaned in. Pod person. What the fuck? Turn it off. Turn this off right now. The screen cut out and the simulation containing the director and James ceased to exist. What kind of sick creep program this? We were supposed to be testing legitimate scenarios of the integration of synthetic humans. What kind of freak show is not only uncouth, it's a waste of resources. Someone is getting a permanent black mark on their personnel file. Miss Kensington? No one here programmed that scenario. It was created entirely by the machine. Are you telling me a computer just delivered an edgy teenage diatribe on the nature of humanity? Yes. Okay, that's it, folks. Pack it up. We've achieved the singularity.
Oh, damn. While we were doing that, another $5 donation by Anime Guy. Think you guys can do my second one. I sent that fits the prompt better than the one you guys read. I don't think I successfully did what I wanted. One prompt per person, man. We can't take multiple prompts unless we screw up somewhere along the line.
Also, reading back through the chats, Janice, rhyming bruh with her. See, she gets it.
They're let's see, they're non-characters. The faster, oh, yeah. So Paceman, that was fun. I liked that. Like,
Yeah,
diet.
it was a little. I think a little dialogue heavy. There could have been some descriptors in there, but
well, I don't know.
I love it, especially the ending.
Yeah, I think I like how dialogue heavy it was because like it really the description doesn't matter. Achievement unlocked, the singularity. Good work, Capsule.
I mean, yeah, it sets up a very good scene. Like, you know what's you can really feel what's happening just through the dialogue.
And I like definitely how consistently she was just cutting him off, cutting him off, cutting him off, cutting him off, and like you could see like every single time she did, it would just reset his brain because he had never. I mean, she had the point. Like, it was an interesting point of like you just never came across difficulty in your life beyond a test you had to solve, and you could always solve that. But now you're up against something you can't solve, and you can't solve it. So you're breaking down. I like that. That's some insane stuff right there. And like that last line, singular, that's fun. That's fun. Get your cake and eat it too with that.
By the way, update on hold on. Molly, thank you for knowing I'm a girl. Well, your first name is Janice, which I assume is like Janet or Janice. So
I thought it was like a Yanis, but
Yanis,
like a Y sounding J, but I don't know. Yeah. Maria should be Ruby's Medea on the kids. Anyone watch Tyler Perry movies? That actually would be kind of funny. A Medea among the Ruby cast. Ruby goes to Medea's. All right, so Ruby soundtrack talk.
Ruby soundtrack talk. Some good stuff. Okay. Casey takes after her dad, and not in a good way. That is the unfortunate reality. Have you guys seen like one of her like own little band songs? Is in the soundtrack. I'm trying to remember what it was called, but like it's okay. I'll say this: I don't know who's writing her songs. It is better than what her father does in the sense that it's not like absolutely like grammatically screwed and unnatural sounding. But listen to this.
Is it gonna get copyrighted?
No, I'm just gonna read the lyrics.
Okay.
Still of fragile lies and bones, forever we alone cannot escape this misery. Slow we step into the light, inebriate in sights, unveil the truth that guides us home. Look inside, with darkness my tears collide, sinking into the shrine of me. I'm ready to be set free. I'm sick as the dying, the air I breathe. I feel alive, my self-portrait suicide. Tonight is no time to die, and now I'm awake. Like you feel the like 12-year-old lying in the rain feelings of this, right? Like,
yeah. I like how Rosemary takes after Ethan, says weird dialogue a person wouldn't say out loud. I mean, yeah. Oh, that's right. I dig the dark song. Yeah. It sings. I dig the dark song. It sings to my soul.
Lighter.
Oh, but yeah, no. Yeah, I'm.
This song makes no sense. Like, it paints no image in my head. I have no idea what it's talking about. And then, of course, one of the comments. Funnily enough, you can apply the verses to the Ruby members. Unveil the truth that guides us home is Ruby. Forever we alone is Weiss. Truth can break your soul in two is Blake. And Ember, sweet and unrefined, is Yang.
Congratulations, I can literally reverse that.
Yeah.
I can do that with any character.
These lyrics sound like a failed Green Lantern oath. I mean, the only song that I know for a fact she wrote is Until the End. And it's also just like piano chords and like let's see, her lyrical style isn't like the worst. It's just very blah. A new day is gone without a trace. All memories are dark and light is fading. We try so hard, but what are we fighting for? We lose we're losing all our strength. How can we give more?
You see, there's a problem with like there's a fine line where you speak in abstracts versus speaking in definites when it comes to music that I've never found the balance myself, honestly. I'm always like I lean on the abstracts, and a lot of very novice music writers do. But there's a balance of like giving details that really shape things, as opposed to
my songwriting. My songwriting got better when I stopped giving abstracts.
Yeah, I mean, like, what did you think of the song "Ghosts"? I know you hated it at one point.
What song?
Ghosts by what was it? I tried it once before and I didn't get too far.
Oh, that song? I just think it's like very edgy and funny.
Oh yeah, it's very edgy. I unironically love it because I love that edgy shit. But I like it because it has a very clear visual going on. It's all about this guy not just contemplating self-harm. Like it's a story about a man who goes through self-harm and basically is trying to opt out, so to speak. And it's very clear on the visuals, and it's like, I wish I told my mom. I wish I told my mom I love her. I'm a bad son. Like that sticks out. Like this is the dying regrets of a man who is now taking his own life, and you get that from like very concrete imagery. So yeah, it's like that kind of stuff. You need concrete imagery to express abstract emotion.
Yeah. Let's see. To live free or hold on. The time falls away. Pain always finds a way to stay. The tears that you shed may find a tree to water, but only when you're stronger. I promise I'll be here until the end. To live free or die, it's... Shoutouts to New Hampshire, live free or die. It's all the same. The enemy was right. There's no reclaiming in waves of shame. We're desperate to make amends, but through a simple soul, we lie complacent. This reminds me of how I wrote songs when I was like 16. I was just stringing things together that rhymed without really thinking of it.
Let's see. When you were young. Oh shit. I'm trying to think of the lyrics. God damn it.
For what?
1 minute. You used to say, "Live and let live." You know you did. You know you did. You know you did. But in this lonely place, the world in which we live in makes you give it a cry.
What song is that?
Da-na-na. Say live and let die. Bomb. Bomb. Live and let die. That song, I love that song so much, but I hate that there's this weird, like, steel drum interlude in the middle of it. And I'm just like, where did this come from? Like, you have, like, this great rock riff, this great intense feeling, and then, what does it matter to ya? When you got a job to do, you gotta do it well. And then, like, it gets back to badass, like, you gotta give the other fella hell. Ba-da-dun,
but
ba-da-dun,
I still think the worst line, like top 10 worst lines in Ruby soundtracks, I would put, "But our greatest fear will be realized if we fall and lose ourselves to fear. We've become what we feared all our lives."
We have like nothing to fear, but whatever the fuck that sentence was.
What?
We have nothing to fear except for whatever the fuck that sentence was.
That's the thing. A lot of these songs just lack any sort of imagery, which really shoots it in the foot.
Another good one I just thought of, because Live and Let Die reminded me of James Bond, and now I'm going back to my favorite, which is Casino Royale. Where it's the favorite song that is, which was Casino Royale's "You Know My Name," where like the imagery is all about like taking chance and oh shit. Let me try and think of the riff to it. You know my name.
Hold on. I'm reading the comments under the song "Fear." Fear to succeed comes from the idea that people's expectation will keep growing. You fear you won't be able to pull off what they want each time, or that you won't always be there for them at all. So what the Kruby thinks every time some Ruby tuber makes a video about how they're totally done with Ruby for reals, and are totally not going to obsessively watch it to make nitpicks, well, and make other fans' lives a living hell. You insulting my show is making my life a living hell. Dude, you don't need to watch those.
Get off the internet. Jesus
Close
Christ.
the lid.
Close the link. Block the person.
People in Volume 7 did stuff out of fear. It's the most basic analysis. They're like, because the show has just the most basic plot, like not even basic plot because it's like a complex plot, just bad. They have to dig to find anything that resembles storytelling, and when they do, they act like it's the most brilliant thing ever.
Let's see.
It's like those people who 5 years later I still see write these essays about Undertale. It's like, dude, we've moved on.
Yeah, write about Deltarune, loser.
No.
I'm kidding.
Or it's kind of like the people who still write essays about Avatar: The Last Airbender. Like, I know it was a good show, except the opposite because that was a good show. Ruby fans are just desperately clawing away for any sort of substance to write about. They're just like, whoa, guys, did you... I guess the Undertale example is better, because I'll still see people... I saw someone the other week who was just like, oh my gosh, guys, this Undertale song is a different Undertale song. Slowed down a lot. And I'm like, congratulations for discovering leitmotifs in 2021.
Yeah, I mean, there's the interesting one that, I think all the music in Inception is actually the song that they play to wake people up. It's that song, but slowed down by the increments of every single layer they're in the dream. So in the dream, an hour is 5 minutes in reality. And then you keep going down, and so the song gets progressively slower, and so all the music, the leitmotifs of the music carry on, but they're all slowed down by an order of magnitude. And it's very interesting in that.
I mean, leitmotif has been a thing since, Wagner's operas.
Yeah. They think the most brilliant things ever because their own brains have come up with the meanings and story elements themselves.
That's true.
Yeah.
Well, it's even then, they'll just find something that's, there as a basic consequence of a story being told. They're just like, see, this character did something out of fear. I'm like, yeah, because that's how stories work. Characters feel things, and then they react.
Someone pointed out that the most popular fandoms are typically the ones where it's not necessarily the best written stuff, obviously. It's the one where you can most easily insert your own ideas without consequence. So that's why Naruto is so popular as a fandom. Why One Piece is so popular as a fandom. Why they still have these concrete characters, but at the same time they have this this world. Harry Potter is a good example of it. It's this world where you can easily just throw your own crap in there and get away with it.
Yeah, basically.
And I did recently watch a video that I really liked, where it was talking about the problem of Ron Weasley and between the adaptations of it. Because I forgot, everyone knows him from the movies as this cowardly dunce of a character, but in the books, I forgot how intelligent he was, and he was a favorite character of mine for a reason.
I mean, it's just I think Ruby is kind of those colorblind tests where there's a bunch of different dots, and if you're colorblind, you can't see the number.
Exactly.
If you are born a certain way, you can see it. If you were born a different way, you can't see it. I think that's what Ruby is. I think these people's brains are just very special, and they can see something we can't see.
Well, that's where I say, because I see what these people want to see, or what these people no, I want to see what these people see, and I can peer into their world, and that's why I'm trying to do Fixing Ruby. Is I see it. I know what you guys want. I'm going to give it to you because I want it too, because it's actually fucking awesome. But you guys are too deluded to realize that you're not getting what you want. Yeah, I should have listened to my...
There's a song called Be Strong and Hit Stuff in Volume 8. The lyrics that we have so far are, it's okay. In time, you will grow. That doesn't mean you're not already whole. Mistakes that you've made will stay in the past. Redemption is yours if you follow that path. Oh, just hold on, stay tough, be strong, and hit stuff.
Man, I should have listened to Bully from 3 Days Grace since the beginning of this stream. Would have had it on repeat about 10. All you'll ever be is a fading memory of a bully. trying to remember the rest of the lyrics. It's been a while since I've listened to it. So lonely. Bad writing blind. Don't need to write a story when the audience writes it in their head. Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, that's actually the strength of that. That's a legitimate writing method too. When you know that you're doing it. Like, that's why I love Dark Souls so much. Is that Dark Souls has a forward story that's very simple. Ring the bells, get to Anor Londo, get the chalice, kill the lords, kill Gwyn, light the fire. It's very straightforward and like just go here, do these things, do this. Very straightforward. But when you get all the items in the game, they each come with different parts of lore, and you can be like, oh, so there was a winery around here or something like that, or there, this character did this here, and you can kind of piece together that they were going over. Like, you get to fill in the gaps, or you have to fill in the gaps in order to figure out where one person gets from one point to another. Be Strong and Hit Stuff feels like a song that should have way more badass and punchy lyrics than that. Yes.
Yeah. The intro song for Volume 8 rhymes loved with enough. I just want to point that out.
I don't even remember what the opening for Volume 8 was.
Some roses will never bloom. That's the only part I remember.
Oh, I think I know why. We just listened to the Sonic intro the entire time. Rolling around at the speed of sound. And it fit just fine. Different one I'm listening to is Blame the Family, Blame the Bully, Blame It on Me. Am I thinking of 3 Days Grace, or am I thinking of Shinedown? I think I'm thinking of Shinedown's Bully song.
Hold on. This is hands down my favorite opening of the franchise. I don't understand how you can listen to like This Will Be the Day and then listen to this like the Volume 8 opening and be like, yeah, this one's better.
This Will Be the Day, Time to Say Goodbye, both are fantastic.
Yeah, those are actually really good songs.
Attack on Titan does it. Character music better. Anything does.
Attack on Titan does its character music better, and it's barely written in functional English.
I've always wanted to do a series where the leitmotifs of every character had a distinct instrument and a distinct feel, and like the music, the leitmotifs combined together to form a cohesive song at the end.
That'd be cool.
That would be cool. So like every single time you have different character combinations going on together, you would have that thing going on in the background where like you just have these two distinct instruments playing off of one another, each other with the same lyric, the same sound, and then finally you get the entire cast and you just hear this big orchestral swell.
Or you could do the Final Fantasy VI thing where the ending theme was a 21-minute medley on a Super Nintendo.
I dropped watching Ruby after the last ending left me feeling like nothing. Yeah, well, I'm dedicated to Ruby at this point. Like, the last ending, I was like, oh, great, you guys have a lot of great payoffs here for absolutely zero setup.
Bro, I love this damn song. Same. It's heart-wrenching.
I imagine these people are, like, 12.
Yeah.
And I don't mean physically.
Is it just me? Is just me, or is Rooster Teeth bound and determined to make absolutely certain that everyone who hears this music knows how dark the show is getting? Not that I don't like the song, quite the contrary, asterisk, chuckle, asterisk. It is, however, foreshadowing so much, I'm just going to list what I see here. Rock bottom, really, it's just going to sink deeper from here. Death, specifically the death of an unfulfilled life. Betrayal, some heroes choose the wrong song. Side. Maybe it's Ironwood, but that was the last volume, so I doubt it. There's 100% more.
Rima Medea comments. Genshin Impact is better. I've played basically... I did read your Medea comments, I thought.
Paying us to read your comments. I mean, I guess that's the point of paying us, is to we read your comments. But like, dude, if we didn't find your comment, like, super... That's why we didn't read it.
Let's see. Genshin Impact is a perfect template for what Ruby game should be. I avoid Genshin Impact for a lot of reasons, namely namely things to do with the country it comes out of. I'm not a fan of how popular it's becoming.
Does anyone remember Genlock? Genlock is like when people tell me any detail of Fire Emblem Fates, where they're just like, "Hey, do you remember how in Fire Emblem Fates the children were like put in a portal where they grew up?" And I was like, "Oh, huh, yeah, I guess that was a thing." And I just move on with my life.
Payne Rimmons.
It's like, wow, this is a thing I wanted to forget. Thank you for reminding me.
Let's see. There'd be a lot of scrolling. Not everybody's into Medea. Yeah, I don't actually know all that much about Medea. I just think it's a funny idea.
Hold on, this one is killing me. There's a song called "The Sky Is Falling." It's the one that plays during the bike chase. And trivia: this song is a direct contrast to "Touch the Sky." This song also has a subtle contrast to Trust Love. One of its lyrics is, "Better cover up your eyes, my friend," and one of the lyrics in Trust Love is, "And open up your eyes."
Yeah, so Paladins, you saw that, right? That I think you saw that in the Tundra, that Paladins, this competitor to Overwatch, is getting the Genshin skins, and I'm like, oh great, who cares about Genlock? Who cares about Paladins?
Who was clamoring for Genlock content? Like, I'm really curious who they expect to just be like, oh man, well, yeah, I'm so excited for Genlock.
I'm seeing a weird push start for Genlock. Like, we see the Paladins promotion, and then I see ProZD posting his mom reacting to his famous roles, and right there, or his actual roles, and right there in the first in the thumbnail is his Genlock role. It's the first thing you see.
Why did they give him a Genlock role?
Because he's famous on the internet.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like, they basically used him to promote the show, even though he was in it for like a grand total of like 3 episodes.
They used him to promote the show and not Michael B. Jordan?
Apparently that wasn't working enough for them.
The Sky Is Falling is an English idiom originating from the story of Chicken Little, indicating a hysterical or mistaken belief that disaster is imminent. Thank you.
Like, you know what really, really galls me is that, like, you have so much history to pull from when it comes to, like, the sky falling. Like, one of my favorite titles of anything ever is an episode of Star Trek called "For the World is Hollow and I Have Touched the Sky." That is a metal fucking name to an episode, and it's great because it's all about these people that are living inside an asteroid and are slowly coming to realize they're living inside of a Dyson sphere. And it's like, it's really cool in that regard, that they discovering that, like, hey, I climbed the mountain and literally touched the sky. Like, you have such cool naming conventions, and you guys go for the bottom of the barrel stuff.
Here comes another nightmare, another fever dream. The horror just won't stop. An endless scream. But this is not subconscious. We're not imagining. We're wide awake. This is reality. Our world, lost without a soul. We're losing all control, not getting closer. Every step is just another dose of torture. Better cover up your eyes, my friend. The sky is falling. Can't outrun the ruin of our lives. Be prepared. We're near the end. The final days are calling. Hold on now. The sky is falling down.
The problem I have is that no one cares about the characters. It should be all about the robots. Well, here's the thing. They did this weird thing in Genlock where they not only gave them robots, but they also gave them, like, Mjolnir armor from Halo, where it's like their suits are special and, like, give them increased physical abilities. And I'm just like, all right, cool. Why haven't you given this to literally everyone else? The thing that make these characters special is their ability to sync with the robots, right? Nothing else. Like, beyond that, one of them was literally a fry cook. The Japanese guy was literally a cook. Like, what? Why does he get the super suit? Like, okay, great, you need to defend them, but, like, why are we not funding these super suits if it makes you, like, super freaking powerful? Give it to trained military personnel. Chicks dig giant robots. I mean, yes, chicks dig giant robots. I dig giant robots. You dig giant robots. We all dig giant robots.
My favorite line, by the way, I'm looking at Penny's theme. My favorite line is, paint our nails, try on clothes, talk about cute boys. Like, can you tell this was written by a 60-year-old man?
Well, no, that's a line from the show directly.
Really?
Yeah, no, remember that's what Weiss said sarcastically to Ruby, which is like, oh, we can hang out. Oh, and we can paint our nails and talk about cute boys. Is that what you were thinking? Like, it was Weiss being sarcastic to Ruby.
How do people remember this stuff?
Because I was actually writing in that line came up when we were discussing what to have Weiss doing in her off times. We're like, didn't she say something? What was the exact phrase they used? And ultimately we couldn't use it, but I thought it was a funny little anecdote.
Okay, here's the actual proof that this is written by a 60-year-old man. You saw my soul through the nuts and bolts. You're the friend I can trust. Help me see I'm not just a machine. And is this what all the feels means?
Well, Genlock has a weird thing where it's dense with exposition on exactly the wrong things to understand any of the world building. Yes! That is the exact problem with Genlock. Which is what Fatman said about Hare's weapon. Everyone should have that as their base gear. Yep. Hey, do you think that the main cast of Ruby would have been better if they were their own unique characters instead of making them based off fairy tales?
I don't think it's a terrible thing to base them off of fairy tales.
No, I think actually it's like one of the most appealing aspects of the show is the idea is you have this setting where you have like this remix of fairy tales, and it like makes me really. That's like part of the problem. I've always said if I could make Fixing Ruby its own thing, I would. But part of the aspect that I love so much about Ruby is the fairy tale aspect, and doing that might be too close to comfort for copyright.
Hold on. Sorry, I want to keep going back to these lyrics. I heard a song once. It posed this point of view, that wishes made on stars are likely to come true. So here's my secret. At bedtime every night, I search the sky and hope to find a star who'd send a light to me. The one thing I need.
Reminds me how everyone kept saying Hella in Life is Strange. Yes.
Yeah. It's like, this is so unnaturally written. I heard a song once. It posed this point of view.
In fact,
like, dude, redo the line if it sounds a little bit awkward.
In fact, I'm
like,
going to point out that I didn't actually hear
it
Hella
feels
used
so
regularly.
That feels so like lifeless. I think is a good word for these lyrics. They feel lifeless.
Yeah, they just suck at making things good. Yeah, they do suck at making things good. They could make it good, but they don't. And also, I never heard anyone use the word Hella until after Life is Strange came out.
Life is Strange is a mistake.
Life is a mistake. There.
Life is. The only good thing about Life is Strange is the song that plays if you choose to let Chloe die, which is the right decision to make, morally. Spanish Sahara by the Foals. Good song.
Yep. God, do you know how many, like, fics that tangent... Like, being a fanfic reader who loves Yuri, I have to go through a lot of bullshit. Like, I mean, not to mention, like, not even from just, like, the opposite political spectrum, because so many people are, like, so far left of Marx that it's insane. So I have to be like, oh, can you please not talk about politics and get back to the cute girls kissing or whatever. But no, I also have to put up with them, like, inserting characters from other media in there. And it's
always bad media.
It's always bad media. I mean, I love Catra and Adora, but they show up very frequently, and they're not exactly a healthy couple by the end of things. Korra and Asami, I'm like, okay, great. You have Chloe and Max, which isn't even the best ship in that game.
Catradora, also known as my wife abuses me, and this is my justification.
Like, the best ship in that game, which also, for the record, does not have any good fanfictions to its name.
Why are you reading Life is Strange fanfiction?
Because I got bored and I ran out.
Remember the part of Life is Strange where Max gets a phone call from, like, the depressed bully girl, and then if you take it, Chloe is, like, angry at you for taking 30 seconds to call someone that isn't her, and then we're supposed to keep rooting for Chloe. Man. Yeah,
it just like I mean, that's the thing. I'm a fan of the Max Victory ship or whatever, which is like Victoria, who is the bullyish character. And I'm like, yes, because I like the idea, like I happen to like the archetype of the redeemed bully. I happen to like that idea. I think it's a cute ship dynamic that can work. But, like, again, it's a difficult one to make work, and that's why there's not a goddamn good one in the entirety of AO3.
Chloe and Rachel all the way, TBH. Hey, I sat through Before the Storm. It is garbo. It is hot garbo.
Yeah, people keep mentioning Rachel, and I'm just like, I don't understand who this Rachel girl is. I ran out of fanfic.
Imagine the least interesting portrayal of that character you could think of. There you go.
I ran out of fanfic, the true and utter despair of Sir McNeil. Look, when there's no good fanfic, there's no good fanfic. It's just like you're like, I've read through all the ones I like. I'm looking for something like them, but nothing scratches the itch. It is pain. The first time I heard the words hella was in Baku video when one of the characters said, I got hella bread.
Hold on. About Penny's theme. This song is a reference to Penny's friendship with Ruby. This is the second emotional song in the series that has played during a volume's end credits after the death of a major character in the volume's final episode. The first being Cold, which played during volume 3. These people have literally nothing interesting to say.
Have I watched Invincible? No, I don't watch predictable, basically, I heard about Invincible, and it's like, oh, it's dark and edgy, guys. And I'm like, stop. I don't want more dark and edgy. It's what if Superman was evil? I don't care. We haven't had if Superman was good. Like, seriously, like, the closest we've gotten was Man of Steel, and he wasn't even Superman yet. Like, the entire point of Man of Steel was that he becomes Superman by the end of the story, and he learns.
That's why everyone's going apeshit over the He-Man trailer, because that's all we've wanted this whole time.
Yes.
Is just buff dudes punching the shit out of each other.
Yes, we want a good buff dude punching the shit out of an evil buff dude, and like, sure, you can have some moral quandaries here or there, but you know what we really like? We like knowing that we're on the right side, and that it's not like some kind of like weird political commentary where you're trying to make your like message all about it. Like, don't shove your politics in there. Just give us like, I'm evil. I want to destroy the world. And it's like, I'm good. I'm going to stop you from doing that. Give us that. We are starved for that.
Doesn't Penny's voice actor have a YouTube channel where she talks about fish? Yeah, I've seen that animation too. I have an entire room in my house for my fish.
Penny's voice actor is wholesome. I will hear no words against her. The writing is always suspect, but she is a gem with a beautiful channel. Go subscribe to her. I don't remember what it is.
But yeah, like, it's funny seeing like the She-Ra fans absolutely seething over the He-Man trailer. They're like, this is just buff dudes fighting each other. It's just for 40-year-old men who want to see buff dudes fighting each other, and not the complex emotional stories of Noelle Stevenson justifying her broken relationship to herself. Like, yeah, we want to see just good television. We don't want like Cal Art shit.
Oh, sweet ice cream truck. I gotta do that during the summer. Next time there's an ice cream truck, I gotta go out and get something. Why is everyone upset with the concept of an evil Superman? It's been done to death. That's why.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, like we even have it in the Zack Snyderverse where like we have hints. I mean hints. We've seen evil Superman in like the Snyder cut. We've seen evil Superman there. We have the Boys doing evil Superman. We have Invincible doing evil Superman. We have Brightburn doing evil Superman. Like, we have the CW doing occasionally evil Superman. During the...
It's literally like...
It's literally because Superman is a good person, and writing a good person is difficult to these people.
I think it's also it's kind of like we since like 2014, people have been obsessed with like 2013. I think is actually one thing. People have been obsessed with like meta writing.
Yeah,
it's where the joy of it comes from how meta it is. and without the meta, there's nothing left there. Just join the stream. What's wrong with the He-Man reboot? Nothing is wrong with the He-Man reboot, and I hope to God it is good.
Yes, I am excited about it. I saw the animation, and that looked freaking awesome as hell. Celtic anime guy for $2. Celtic buff men being good is bad, so says media. Yes, they do, and they're wrong. Because we kind of need them. Literally look everywhere else in the world that has a military, and they think buff men are good. Like, buff men doing good things, good thing to have. Here in America, hi, my name is Emily. I'm manning your global missile satellite, and we can't even get my 2 lesbian moms on camera, so we're gonna do this entire skit in animation. Sorry, what? Have you not heard about that?
No.
It was an Army or Air Force I think it was an Army recruitment, and it was like all about, hi, I'm Emma, and I was raised by my 2 gay moms, and while I was in college, all my sorority sisters were out doing something important, so I wondered what I could do important with my life. So I joined the army, and it's like super soft, and it's all done in these animations. Meanwhile, in Russia, it's literally showing like guys in tanks jumping out of like fucking planes with parachutes, blowing up shit across the mountain. Like, it's showing like this hardcore badassery. Meanwhile, with Emma, it's like, oh, we have a little animation of a missile firing because she mans the missile bases. It's like, dude, what the fuck? That's not military.
It's kind of like when I hate to keep bringing up Undertale, but when people try to like talk about Undertale to me, they're like, "Oh, but like you have the choice to not do what the normal thing is in a video game, and that's why it's cool." Like, I understand it's different, but different doesn't equal automatically good. You still have to have something else good there, especially when literally everything else then. Not literally everything else, but like so many things then try to copy that style of writing where the whole point of it is like, oh, it's only really cool and good if you've like played a lot of other video games because you like know how video games work, and this doesn't work like other video games.
Let's see.
But like you can't do that and then have nothing else. I always say like the biggest flaw in Undertale is that it did everything too safely. Everything is so like, oh my gosh, you're terrible for killing these people, boo-hoo. And then like there's the pacifist route where they're all like hyper quirky Tumblr archetypes, so you don't feel too bad about everything. And like there's one war criminal or something, I don't know.
But like it's I always get Mupa saying I always get Whiplash and Invincible is brought up because I heard about the comics years ago, but literally all I knew about the series is the fact that Mark gets violated. And I'm like, yeah, that I remember hearing about that too, and I remember I was like, oh, I have no interest in reading this. I mean, it's Evil Superman is a really interesting character. No, he's not. He's playing a character. Like that's kind of like, as I understand it, he's just playing at being a character. They also
apparently not killing in self-defense is bad. So it says Undertale. I think the whole point of it is like, oh, you're killing them because that's what you do in most video games, but then you have the choice not to kill them and then see all their cool backstories, and they're all like the lamest people on Earth.
Yeah, it doesn't really.
They're all losers, just like you. Get it?
The writers want to focus on the
just like
super
you.
part and never the man part, and it's like, yeah, like that's a big issue I have with a lot of portrayals. That when someone brought it up, is like everyone refers to him as Kal-El when they learn that he's an alien, but no, his name is Clark. His name is Clark Kent. He's a man. That's the entire point of it. He's just a farm boy from Kansas that learns one day that he has incredible superpowers, and he's like, I can do good with this. I'm going to do good with this. And if you want good Superman, all right, go back to the 90s Superman show. That's incredible. Like, it's not as good as the Batman show, which also got Batman right, which no one has managed to get since that show, except maybe Nolan, but he was doing his own thing. Like, everyone wants to copy Nolan, but Nolan was doing his own thing, and we all knew it was his own thing. It wasn't like Batman the Animated Series is a more faithful Batman. But the animated Superman was great because like the last episode was Lim like literally fighting Doomsday and being like, I've literally lived my entire life walking around in a paper city with people made of glass, handling everyone like they were children. But now I can go all out on you, motherfucker, and I'm going to. And like just he gets to let loose, and it's great.
I think the whole point though is just the idea that like trying to subvert some trope does not automatically mean good writing, which is there's a thing I hope we've all learned by now. If you want to do something that's truly different, really consider what you're doing. Like
Proxbot, the Russian ad is a straight up Halo Reach trailer. I have watched every single trailer for Halo, and I've watched that trailer. They're only superficially similar. It's because the Halo trailers were mimicking actual real life military ads. Like, so don't people making that are idiots. That comparison, they're just stupid. Let's see. Is someone doing war crimes? Must be Wonder Woman. Good old war criminal. Mark getting graped was a brave thing to do. Ugh. Justice League, my favorite. I'm not saying that you, Jen, is. I'm just saying that, like, people think that. Justice League, my favorite of the DC superheroes. Bruh, can't even escape spoilers in a stream with 20 people. Like, dude, for what? Invincible? I don't care about Invincible spoilers or anything like that. Superman being Clark Kent is pretty savage decision. Not a good person with ultimate power help people, just God amongst mortals. Yeah, I really hate how that angle is like, no, he's a human with incredible power. Justice League cartoon was so good. Superman was fighting Darkseid, not Doomsday. Okay, sorry, I haven't watched it in a long time. I thought it was Doomsday. Justice League did it, but in the end, Superman was TSA story. Ritzy, we have Justice League at home. Me, fuck you, RT. Spectacular Spider-Man and Avengers EMH was the last two good Marvel movies. I mean, the good Marvel cartoons. Maybe. I've never actually... The only one I know is the Spider-Man 90s cartoon, which was horribly animated, but also really fun. I remember being very fun. No. Don't apologize for anything. You didn't do anything wrong, Jenny's. Yeah, sadly, cartoons have declined in quality. I mean, hopefully we're clawing our way back up slowly. I mean, we have...
I don't know. The thing is about cartoons right now is that a lot of them feel like it's just the director or the writer, whatever, posturing about what a cool, good person they are, and I hope that we're finally out of that. Oh, look how much I know about emotions. I'm an empath. I get it. Steven Universe. Anyway. Where they're like trying to do these like it's all like Cal Arts, you know. Here's characters doing wacky things with morals, and while that's not like against like what older cartoons did, it has this kind of like formulaic just nonsense where it's all trying to be a metaphor for whatever. And okay, we ticked off the minority boxes, so we're good with that now. Let's get the good comfy morals. Okay, we're good with that, and then they just move on. Like
they're trying incoming. I don't pay attention to Star Wars.
They're trying to do that. And then what else they're trying to do is like everybody wants to be Gravity Falls. All these shows want to be Gravity Falls. They start episodic, and then they get into the meat. And the meat is good. The thing is about Gravity Falls is that it wasn't trying to say anything. It just had a story it told. As opposed to, like, Steven Universe, which is constantly trying to juggle its giant space opera with, and this is why we should forgive people. It's the emotions of it.
Yeah. Thing, have you watched any of Infinity Train? I've heard good things about Infinity Train.
No, I should. Adventure Time had the same problem, by the way, that is trying to balance, like, this whole giant plot with, like, the emotions.
Yeah,
the ending of Adventure Time is just Kitty BoJack Horseman.
The Infinity Train apparently has like every season, it carries some things over into the next season, but literally every season is apparently its unique story. It's like it's all about like focusing around one character's story going through each season. So that sounds like a very good format to me. I think the moral of the story is just to make good content. Yes.
Yeah.
Just make good.
Also, I know you don't care about Star Wars, but like I can't stop thinking about the last 4 episodes of Clone Wars are literally life changing. It's some of the best television just ever.
I've heard the opposite. I've heard that Clone Wars is actually crap, and that the last season is mediocre. Like compared,
it is because they wanted to do more, and they couldn't. And but like the last 4 episodes are god tier television.
Wish I could watch cartoons and all, but I got nothing except Netflix and Dis Plus. But on the TV, I can't just watch it on my computer, which is too much work for me. Me. Actually, the real end of 18
Of Adventure Time. I haven't seen that, but
was really good.
So not all stories need to have a deep message, is what you're saying. Yeah, not all stories need to be like these super deep, like moral filled. Sometimes good, like the morals will just appear.
Here's a question: what was the moral of Die Hard?
Yeah,
I mean, you can say, "Oh, don't be greedy, work out your issues with your spouse." You can but really, in the end, it's not a moral story. It's the story of a man trying to save an entire fucking city or entire fucking building full of people. Like, it's literally just the be all end all of it. Man stuck alone must save people, must save hostages from criminals. That's the entire story. Last for Celtic Watch It. I don't have time for the Clone Wars, and you may not like the results of me watching the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
Don't forget, I watch EFAP, and I do generally line up with them, and from what I've heard, their quality matches do not line up with the Clone Wars very well.
Gravity Falls being a deeply self-indulgent show, I think, is a good way to describe a lot of these shows, where it's like the creator is very far up their own ass, for better or worse. Cleaning.
You heard of the Red Death from Venture Brothers? I love him for his one speech and then everything else he is. I've never seen I've seen parts of Venture Brothers, but I've never sat down and watched it. I'm not really into like the blatant parodies very often. It's kind of weird. I kind of got my fill, I think, with like Spaceballs and like Robin Hood Men. Basically, if it's not made by Mel Brooks, I'm not super interested in parodies.
Mel Brooks king.
Mel Brooks legendary. That man...
Mel Brooks emperor.
Yes. He needs to, like, rule all of reality. He's, like, 94. That man needs to make it to 100. Theo had his...
But yeah, I think, like, a big problem sometimes in stories is that people just get really far up their own ass about what they're writing. They become very self-indulgent, and they're just like, oh, this is the story about me and what I want, as opposed to just making something good for other people. It's all about being relatable because I went through this, but there's more to a story than just being relatable. You need the story part. You can't, if you throw in, like I said, the Undertale style of just, oh, here's all these quirky losers because you're a quirky loser too because you're playing this video game that you learned from Tumblr that was done in the Homestuck guy's basement. That's like, oh, I'm a quirky loser too who likes nerdy things. You can't end there. You can't have a show that's just like, oh, see, these characters are depressed and gay, and that I relate to that. You have to go further. Yeah. There has to be other conflicts happening besides just interpersonal nonsense that you know that the author is going through.
Speaking of update on our discussion about Amity and Luz from Owl House. I've seen the first 2 episodes of Owl House, and so far, hasn't crashed and burned. It hasn't done...
Of the new season? Of the new season?
Yes. So far, positive progress being made. So my hopes are still high, but we'll see. We'll see. My prediction might be wrong.
Gosh, talk about a self-indulgent show. Okay, so the main character is going to be based on my roommate. Okay, it has to be a Dominican 14-year-old. Okay, and it has to love the character that looks like me. All right.
Batwoman can't let her sister get arrested, even if she killed tens of people every single day. Yeah, God, Christ, don't even get me started on Batwoman. Oh my God, that show is a beautiful train wreck.
The only thing that kept Gravity Falls from being a 10 out of 10 was Mabel not having an answer for being the literal worst. I've been watching Amphibia because frogs, so I'm like, Sarah, there's a show about frog people, and obviously she was down. We watched like the first 6-7 episodes.
Apparently it's good.
It is good. I'm waiting for it to get into the meat, because I know what these shows are about. They're gonna get into the meat.
Is the meat frog legs?
I hope not.
The only thing that kept Gravity Falls from being I've never watched Gravity Falls myself. I should probably get around to that at some point. But yeah, so we've gone on for about 2 hours now. I think it's about time we wrap up the stream. Thank you all so much for watching. We've had
we need a topic
time.
for next.
That's a good point. What topic should we have? Maybe
I think we should. I was gonna say we should do like deconstruction, like take a trope and do like a common trope, but do it and deconstruct. But please do it good. Don't try to make these evil Superman things interesting.
No, don't do evil Superman.
I'm just giving that as an example. But like, take a common trope and kind of deconstruct it, but try to make it interesting.
Yeah, like literally at the like that. That would be that's our challenge. Give us a common trope done with a twist. Make sure at the beginning of your fic you tell us what trope you're tackling, so that we know what we're priming ourselves for, and then we'll see the twist. Now, either if you want to do that diegetically somehow, or you just want to like say, this is the trope that I'm covering, your choice. But that's what we're covering. Twisting tropes. That's what we're calling it. Well, twisting tropes is our topic for the next prompt. Please get on it. Next week will be probably writing or Ace Attorney. We'll see. Hopefully we'll return to our regular Thursday time slot. It has been fun. I've had a blast. Remember, if you want to support the channel, go to my Patreon. For $1 or more, you get access to the Team Frostbite Discord server where I, Molly, Fatman Falling, Dashy,
I'm Molly.
We're all regularly active. Yes. Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll catch you all on the flip side.
Bye.